As soon as Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever were eliminated, Alyssa Thomas, Connecticut's best player, or Connecticut's most hyped player, went to the podium and started complaining about Caitlin Clark fans.
I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base.
Due to a violent racist attack on Caitlin Clark and the subsequent meltdown, Alyssa Thomas was recently suspended. Is simply awkward. Following a dismal playoff performance against the Minnesota Lynx, it appears that the heat was too much for her. What did she do in her interview after the game then? Rather than taking responsibility, she made the decision to suddenly raise the racism card, focusing all of the attention on Clark supporters and calling them racist. Therefore, there's a 99% chance that you are a fan of Caitlin Clark yourself if you're watching this video. And now you're also a racist, according to Alyssa. Thank you, Alyssa, for educating us.
Those guys, they're the racists, when really, y'all are the racists.
It's absurd how blind someone can be to ignore Clark's incredible stats and believe that her skin tone is the only reason. Then you really ought to have been suspended. However, are you aware of the precise words she used to get herself into this predicament? Is there any possibility that the league will pardon her, and why is everyone turning against her? Let's actually get into the specifics. Swift.
I don't know what this really is. It's an attack on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's the wrong face for this league because her fans are so racist.
Thanks to a vicious smackdown, the Connecticut Sun just crashed out of the playoffs in the most humiliating manner imaginable, in the second game by the Minnesota Lynx. Additionally, Alyssa enters the post-game interview after dominating on the court. She appears to be on the verge of losing it. It's not acceptable.
Honestly. And there's no place for it. And we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it.
It was as if a switch had been flipped when a reporter finally dared to bring up her performance. Rather than dealing with the elephant, she immediately launches an attack, accusing Caitlin Clark's supporters of being a complete no-show during the playoffs, of having racist views. She did not claim that there were only a few trolls on the internet or that she struggled with hate speech on social media. Nope, she went all out and accused Clark's entire fan base of being racists who are destroying black players' mental tranquility.
You know, we come to play basketball for our job and it's fun, but we don't want to go to work every day and have social media blown up over things like that. It's uncalled for, and something needs to be done, whether it's, them checking their fans or this league checking. There's no time for it anymore.
It seems as though she had been holding on to this thought, waiting for the ideal opportunity to share it, and hoping someone would inquire. About her unsuccessful game in an attempt to flip the conversation, T was visible on the reporters' faces. They had no idea how to react at all. Nobody questioned her about specifics or requested proof.
Instagram and Twitter, these are choices we make. There's an easy way. The league doesn't have to get involved. The Indiana Fever don't have to do something to get you away from social media. Put your phone down. Don't download the apps. Don't engage.
They simply let her go, changing the focus from her disastrous playoff performance to this manufactured controversy. Rather than criticizing her for that awful performance, everyone became engrossed in Alyssa Thomas versus fans of Caitlin Clark. The speed at which she changed the course of events and transformed herself from the greatest of all time is almost astounding. In the worst way possible, turning into a purported victim of racist fans.
Well, now they found another victim, the fans of Indiana. Now, I'm going to side a little bit with these idiots. I'm going to side a little bit with Alyssa Thomas, who said she is the latest WNBA woke gas bag to rip Indiana Fever fan over alleged racism, demanding the franchise and league do something about it. What do you want them to do?
However, you can't help but wonder if this was merely a spontaneous outburst, or was it a deliberate action to divert all the criticism aimed at her. Coming out strong, Alyssa Thomas asserted that during her 11-year before this season, she had never experienced this level of mistreatment in her career. And guess who she's blaming? Fans of the Indiana Fever. Those who have been aboard Caitlin Clark's hype train since her stunning debut. The season began.
Who gives a rat's ass? Seriously.
Here's the worst part, though. Did she bother providing, I don't know, a single piece of evidence to support her claims? No chance at all, no incidents, no examples, not even an ambiguous tweet to rely on. Rather, she made a general accusation, essentially suggesting that everyone who loves Fever is trying to destroy her mental tranquility because, apparently, the mere existence of Caitlin Clark in the league is toxic. Well done, Alyssa.
Caitlin Clark is Kunta Clark. She's the actual slave that everybody else is exploiting for their benefit. Angel Reese included at the top of that list. Now Alyssa Thomas jumps in and says, let me get my piece.
But first, let's discuss the timing. Why reveal these shocking details immediately after losing a high-stakes game in the playoffs? She was clearly desperate to alter the story. She was aware that the media would be prepared to criticize her for that poor performance, most likely in anticipation of questioning her about why she gave up when her team needed her the most, or why, on the season's biggest stage, she allowed herself to be totally outplayed. So she pulls off the ultimate misdirection play rather than facing the music. Place the blame on Caitlin Clark. Supporters and wish for everyone to forget she ever set foot on the court that evening.
You got people in a room.
Yeah.
Like, if you got a bunch of dudes in a room and says, let's fuck up the WNBA, we couldn't have came up a master plan what these women have done.
This is where things start to get really murky, though. Thomas was targeting more than just Clark's followers, by criticizing Clark's supporters. She quietly portrayed Clark as the source of the issue. Consider it if Clark's impact is bringing. Given all of this negativity, she is subtly portraying Clark as a villain in this entire situation.
Janae Carrington, as we've talked about earlier this week, in Game 1, poked Caitlin Clark in the eye intentionally, in my view, and in most rational people's view. Your hands don't curl up, you jab people in the eye, and you pull your hand back immediately after you've accomplished your goal. Nothing happens to Dejanay Carrington. This isn't really even discussed. She gets questioned about it once. Caitlin Clark gets questioned about it. Caitlin Clark takes the high road. She's not engaging. Hats off to Caitlin Clark.
It's a cunning way to damage Clark's reputation without really bringing her name into disrepute. Not to mention, these two have previously had disagreements. A prior incident had already caused some animosity to flare up. That caused controversy for both of them. Flashback to August 14th, 2024, when there was a fierce battle between the Connecticut Sun and the Indiana Fever. Alyssa Thomas made the decision to establish what can only be called the Caitlin Clark screen is the hardest in human history. And no, we're not referring to your typical basketball screen. Clark, who is renowned for moving like lightning across the court, was totally taken by surprise and struck the ground as hard as a ton of bricks. T had a terrible effect. Live viewers literally gasped, believing she had broken her ankle. Or something. T really was that awful. What actions did the referees take? After calling Thomas an offensive foul, they simply ignored it. It off as if it were nothing at all. Nothing. Not even a review or blatantly disgusting consideration.
WNBA, because it's a woke league and because it's leaned into people directing their hatred of Caitlin Clark at Caitlin Clark fans.
Even some WNBA analysts, like Diana Taurasi, jumped in and expressed how awful the entire situation was without holding back. Managed. She stated unequivocally that Thomas ought to have been dismissed for such a careless play. However, did Clark make a significant deal with it? Not a possibility. She immediately reappeared, flashed that signature smile, and even winked. "I'm fine and I'm not going to let this ruin me," the crowd seemed to be saying. Classic Caitlin move. While everyone else was preoccupied with losing, she remained cool, collected, and unconcerned despite their concerns about the absence of officiating. T was a potent moment, one that only deepened her admirers' love for her.
And it comes as a byproduct of, Caitlin, I love you to death. But girl, if you don't work on that defense, you ain't winning no championships.
For Alyssa, though, at that point, things began to get out of hand. Fans of Clark were incensed, and they made sure Alyssa felt the controversy on social media since Schreil simultaneously issued a statement stating,
They kicked her off the game because it's Caitlin Clark and she can't do that game.
Furthermore, rather than taking responsibility for a play that might have seriously hurt one of the league's top players, She took the exact opposite action. She began portraying herself as the victim, saying that the criticism was, "It's not about her almost defeating a rookie sensation, but rather about race." Anyone who was paying attention saw it as a complete diversion, could clearly see through it. She simply played dirty, which infuriated the fans.